The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. It is news that has shocked the country today. Bill Cosby, the former actor and comedian who fell from grace when he was convicted of drugging and raping a woman, is now a free man. This is video of Cosby as he was brought home today. At one point, you can see his spokesperson, Andrew Wyatt, jumping for joy as Cosby gets out of the vehicle, waving to the helicopter above. We've also seen images of Cosby holding up a V with his hand for victory. Then we heard this from his Twitter account. "I have never changed my stance nor my story. I have always maintained my innocence. Thank you to all my fans, supporters, and friends who stood by me through this ordeal. Special thanks to Pennsylvania Supreme Court for upholding the rule of law. Hashtag Bill Cosby." Today's developments have America asking, what the hell happened? Our panel weighs in tonight.
And our guests are here to discuss this shocking story today with Bill Cosby. I mean, when there was breaking news, I had no idea this was going to happen. Oliver, take us there. Make us understand why Bill Cosby is a free man tonight.
Well, what you have to understand is back at the trial level, his defense team challenged the fact that they allowed, I guess, so many different accusers to pile on. And most jurisdictions have this issue where when you're trying to punish someone based off of their bad act, you're looking at the bad act that they did that day. Now, you can use a modus operandi in order to prove the identity of the person, but not to prove that they in fact committed the crime. So say that a killer continues to always leave a red charm behind every time, and then they say that, well, look, he's found with this red charm and all these crimes occurred with the red charm, then that must be him. Okay, whereas with Bill Cosby, they were trying to say that this whole, I guess, slipping the pill incident to these multiple women was to prove that in fact that he committed a crime, and the court said no, they went too far, that they were not just trying to identify who Bill Cosby were. They were trying to say that in fact he committed the crime. And that's what happened in the first trial, where they had the mistrial and they only had basically the victim and one other person. This time they allowed them to pile on, and that's how they were able to get the conviction. And so therefore the Supreme Court of that state has now since overturned it. The other issue that they were trying to break down legally, I believe, I'm drawing a blank here. So they looked at the amount, and then they also looked at the fact that the prosecutor, the predecessor of the prosecutor, had agreed to not prosecute him. Now, there's some issue about it not being in writing. I haven't read the actual opinion on that just yet, but I believe what they're going to is the essence of the fact that this office has continually not prosecuted him. He relied upon it when he testified, so therefore you cannot then change.
And Oliver, that was in the civil case where they promised not to prosecute him. Well, they did anyway.
Well, yeah, for him to give truthful testimony in the civil case, as far as him saying that he provided drugs in order to obtain sex, but the underlying issue was they couldn't prove the criminal in the past because he invoked his Fifth Amendment right. And so then in order to get this lady some type of justice, they said, well, look, we won't prosecute you, but you got to go ahead and testify truthfully. And that's what he ended up doing, testify truthfully. They ended up in a $3 million settlement, and Ms. Constance ended up getting her justice through the civil system. Then as times have changed, that brings us forward to today, where the times have changed, that she wanted to come back basically a second bite of the apple and have him held criminally liable, to which now the Supreme Court said, no, you cannot do that.
All right, Chow Win, your thoughts on this? Bill Cosby walking away a free man tonight. We're not sure what the prosecutors will do, if they will try for a third time to put him back on trial. But your thoughts for women out there, Chow Win. You're from the Houston Area Women's Center, where women go to escape abuse and those who have taken advantage of them.
Well, Isaiah, I can tell you right now, our clients are already talking about this in support groups. I just talked to one of our advocates. It's a triggering event. Anytime there's a major event of sexual assault, domestic violence that hits the headlines, it can be triggering for survivors. So what they're hearing as a result of this court overturn is, I'm not to be believed. As Oliver was just talking about, the victims who came forward and shared their story one after one, it takes a lot of courage. And, as a community-based organization, when survivors come to us, regardless if they go to authorities or to law enforcement or the criminal justice system, because many don't, more than 25% of those cases of all reported sexual assault cases don't go reported. And then of those, fewer people go to the police. So when they see this, it's like a shaking my head incident. It's a slap in the face of the Me Too movement that survivors are to be believed, because when they go to the criminal court system, they're not to be believed. And when you hear of a big case like this that's high profile, involves Bill Cosby and women coming forward, and the disappointment that survivors are hearing, we encourage them, if this is a triggering event, to turn off social media. Don't read the comments, because they're very damaging and can be very hurtful and harmful, and triggers your past events, what happened to you, and the aftermath of this event as well.
Todd, do you think we're in this position now because it is Bill Cosby? With the average guy who wasn't a multimillionaire with a history with America, being America's #1 dad for many years, do you think an average guy would have walked away from a crime like this?
I don't think an average guy would have had the opportunity to avoid previous, prosecutions and claims and stuff like that. Bill Cosby.
Todd, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break and come back and let you continue.
Thank you.
So make sure you stay with us. We'll continue that conversation in a moment after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. The news of Bill Cosby's release was nothing short of stunning today. We wrap up with our panel and discuss the obvious question: is this an abuse of fame and power?
And Todd, we were talking about Bill Cosby and if he is getting special treatment because he is a celebrity. Your thoughts on that?
I think he's definitely getting special treatment because it's a celebrity, but at the same time, what Oliver mentioned about the agreement that he made in the civil case, if that was legit, then technically they don't have any choice but to let him go. But these accusations have followed Bill Cosby since the 60s, and he was just so powerful that he was able to cancel anybody who spoke out. D.L. Hughley spoke out a few years ago, and he interviewed him, and he accused him of drugging and raping women. The powers that be at the radio station said that D.L. Hughley would never work in radio if that interview aired. That's the type of power Bill Cosby had. So you have a lot of people who are saying, yeah, he was fully exonerated, and yeah, it's a black man that was negatively portrayed and he was accused of a crime he didn't commit. Bill Cosby was not exonerated for this crime. It was a technicality. And Bill Cosby is not the average man. He's not the average black man. R. Kelly's not the average black man. He got away with the second, allegedly. He hasn't gone to trial, but he's gotten away with these accusations since I was in 8th grade. You know what I mean? And I'm a full grown man. So celebrity will get you away with certain things that non-celebrity won't. Harvey Weinstein got away with it for years, but now things have changed. He got away with it on a technicality. So I don't want people in the community to start cheering and saying the Cosby Show needs to be back on the air and this, that, and the third. Bill Cosby, I think he still did it. I'm a journalist. I'm not supposed to say somebody committed a crime if they haven't been convicted. But common sense tells me that he's done what he's been accused of because his reputation precedes him.
And Oliver, the last minute or so that we have here, what do you say to those people who are on social media now celebrating, saying that I told you he didn't do it, he's been cleared?
I have to agree with Mr. Smith. I don't think that this says that he didn't do it. It is a procedural issue. Now, I hate people to diminish procedural issues because this is the way that we keep a rule of law within our country. These procedures are put in place to protect innocent people from going to jail. So now, whatever your personal belief is, did he do it or did he not? That's for the individual. I believe that, the ladies at the women's shelter would have a total different opinion about it, which is understandable. I believe, though, that the one thing did happen, that the court system worked correctly in this instance, okay? It followed its rules, and when the rules weren't followed, the Supreme Court corrected. Now, whether you believe that he should be free or not, that's a personal opinion, but I believe the system did work because of the fact that they looked at all the law and interpreted it correctly. And so that he does get to go home. As far as these other people that got to pile on, at the end, and I think that I knew that was going to be problematic to this conviction, is letting those 5 other people testify. They should have just ran the case again and tightened up with their star witness Andrea Constant in the get-go, not add on 5 or 6 other people, because that is like law school 101. You cannot do that to get a conviction.
Notwithstanding, Isaiah, I hope this doesn't discourage survivors from coming forward and being disappointed. There is support out there through community-based organizations like the Houston Area Women's Center. Call and reach out for help. And if people are listening, listen to survivors without judgment and with support. Let them know that you believe them, regardless of the criminal justice system. Telling your story takes a lot of courage, and there's a lot of shame in sexual assault.
Now, a reminder for anyone who is in Houston or Harris County that has been sexually assaulted, you can call the Houston Area Women's Center, and that number is 713-528-2121. Nationwide, you can call the National Sexual Assault Hotline. That's 800-656-HOPE. That's 800-656-HOPE.